You already know the problem. You say yes too often. You agree to meetings that drain you, tasks that don't matter, and favors that eat away at your energy. On the surface, it looks like cooperation or kindness, but underneath, it's a hidden performance leak that is robbing you of time, focus, and momentum. And the worst part? It's not just about lost hours. Every unnecessary yes compounds into a cycle of fatigue, distraction, and missed opportunities. You're not losing minutes. You're losing results, leverage, and authority. High performers know one truth. Your growth is defined not by how many things you accept, but by what you protect yourself from. In this video, you'll learn the exact protocol for saying no without guilt, hesitation, or friction. A single phrase and a micropause that reprogram the way your brain and the brain of the other person process the refusal. This is not about being rude. It's about reclaiming control of your time and energy so you can direct them where they generate the highest returns. Think of your brain like a computer. Right now, it's running dozens of hidden background applications, commitments you didn't need to accept but felt pressured into. Each one drains your RAM. That's why you feel slow, overloaded, and scattered, even when you technically have time. The solution is to install a new piece of mental software, the exact no protocol. Here's how it works. Step 1 is awareness of the trap. Your brain has been wired by evolution to avoid social friction. Saying no feels like rejection, and your limbic system reads it as a threat to belonging. That's why you overcommit. The discomfort you feel isn't about the task itself. It's about the imagined consequences of refusing. The first step in breaking this loop is to reframe the act of refusal as protection, not confrontation. You're not rejecting someone else, you're defending your mission. Actionable code. Every time you feel the urge to agree instantly, stop and say to yourself, "This is not about them. This is about protecting my capacity." This internal phrase shifts your frame from guilt to strategy. Step 2 is the pause. Neuroscience shows that a micro delay of 2 to 3 seconds is enough to move the brain from reflexive limbic response to prefrontal control. In practice, this means you don't answer immediately. You breathe, you nod. You let the request land, and you let your executive brain come online. This pause alone is powerful. It signals authority, it buys you space, and it prevents your autopilot yes from slipping out. Actionable code. The next time someone asks for your time, silently count 1-2 in your head before opening your mouth. This is the circuit breaker that allows the protocol to work. Step 3 is the phrase. Not a lecture, not an excuse, just a pre-engineered response that removes guilt and closes the loop. The most effective construction has 2 parts, acknowledgement and boundary. For example, "I appreciate you thinking of me, but I can't commit to that right now." Notice the structure. You acknowledge the request, which soothes the other person's limbic system, but then you draw a clean boundary, which protects your energy. No long explanation, no negotiation, just a clear signal. Actionable code. Prepare 1 or 2 of these phrases in advance and rehearse them until they come out automatically. Step 4 is the reinforcement. After the no, your brain will try to rush in with guilt or justification. Don't let it. The moment of silence after you deliver your phrase is where authority is built. Hold it. Resist the urge to over-explain. Let the silence work for you. In negotiation psychology, this is called the power pause. People respect firmness far more than endless justification. Actionable code. When you give your no, follow it with 3 seconds of stillness. Do not fill the air. Let the other person process. Step 5 is redirection when needed. Sometimes a flat no feels too sharp depending on the relationship. In those cases, you use the future gate. Instead of agreeing now, you redirect the request into the future in a way that protects your present. Example, "That's not something I can take on this week. Let's revisit it next month." This keeps the relationship intact without committing your time today. Actionable code. When you can't refuse outright, use a time-gated deferral. It closes the request without draining your current energy. Let's zoom out for a moment. What we've built here is a 5-step system that rewires the social reflex of your brain. Awareness, pause, phrase, reinforcement, and redirection. This is the exact no protocol. It works because it aligns with neuroscience. You disrupt the limbic hijack with a pause. You engage the prefrontal cortex with a rehearsed phrase. You reduce post-refusal guilt by reframing your no as protection of mission, not rejection of a person. And you reinforce your authority by embracing silence instead of over-explaining. The result is profound. Every time you apply this protocol, you recover hours of focus, energy, and execution that would have been lost to low-return commitments. Over weeks and months, this compounds into days of free capacity that you can invest into your highest value goals. Think of it like compound interest but for energy. Each no is not just a defense, it's an investment. And here's the bigger shift. When people start to experience you as someone who values their time, respect for you increases. You stop being seen as endlessly available, and you start being recognized as intentional and mission-driven. That perception is a leadership signal. You'll notice fewer random requests, less time wasted, and more alignment between what you say yes to and what actually moves the needle. Before we continue, test this right now. Think of the last request you agreed to that you should have refused. Imagine rewinding that moment. Instead of the instant yes, you pause, you breathe, you deliver the phrase, "I appreciate you thinking of me, but I can't commit to that right now." Then you hold the silence. Feel the difference? That gap between old reflex and new protocol is the exact leverage point we're targeting. This is how you install the exact no protocol into your daily operating system. In the second half of this breakdown, I'll show you how to automate this skill so it becomes reflexive under pressure, and how to layer it with advanced variations that fit different contexts, corporate, social, or personal. Because authority is not about saying no once, it's about building a consistent pattern that protects your time without damaging relationships. And the tool for that is this protocol, repeated until it becomes second nature. Now let's take this from theory to practice and make it automatic. The exact no protocol is powerful, but like any code, it only works when it is installed into muscle memory. You need to practice it until it becomes as natural as tying your shoes. Here's how to hardwire it. The first layer is rehearsal. Your brain responds best to preloaded scripts. If you wait until the pressure of the moment, your limbic system will override you and you'll slip back into reflexive yes. To break that loop, you rehearse your phrase when there is no pressure. Stand in front of a mirror and say it 5 times. "I appreciate you thinking of me, but I can't commit to that right now." Do it until your voice sounds neutral, steady, and clean. This is not acting, it's programming. Athletes visualize their moves before competition. Negotiators rehearse their lines before entering the room. You're doing the same. By the time a request comes, your brain already has the code queued up. The second layer is micro-exposure. Start with low-stakes situations. Refuse a minor request, like declining an extra email thread or skipping a meeting that has no relevance to your role. These small wins matter. Each successful no rewires your brain to experience refusal not as danger, but as strength. The neural circuits of authority are built one rep at a time. The third layer is escalation. Once you are confident with low-stakes refusals, apply the protocol in higher-stakes contexts. This could be a boss asking for additional work, a friend inviting you to something you don't want to attend, or a colleague pushing tasks onto your plate. The structure doesn't change. Pause, phrase, silence, boundary. Each time you hold the line, your authority solidifies. The fourth layer is automation through cues. Anchor the protocol to a physical microaction. For example, when someone asks you for something, train yourself to touch your pen or fold your hands before answering. This physical anchor becomes the trigger for the pause. Anchoring pairs a movement with a behavior until they fuse. Over time, the moment you feel the urge to agree, the anchor reminds your brain to pause. That gap is your power. The fifth layer is recovery. You will slip. You will say yes when you shouldn't. That's not failure, it's feedback. The key is to immediately review the situation and rehearse how you should have handled it. Replay the scenario in your head, insert the pause, deliver the phrase, and hold the silence. This mental rehearsal after failure is one of the fastest accelerators of skill acquisition. It transforms mistakes into upgrades. Now let's look at the psychological leverage you gain once the exact no protocol is installed. First, you eliminate time theft. Every unnecessary yes drains not just minutes, but mental cycles. By cutting them off, you free up bandwidth for strategic work. Second, you elevate perception. People notice that your time is guarded, which signals value. Scarcity creates authority. Third, you unlock consistency. With fewer distractions, your work becomes sharper, more reliable, and more aligned with your goals. And fourth, you increase self-respect. Every time you protect your energy, you reinforce to yourself that your mission matters. That identity shift is critical. You stop operating like a reactive player and start operating like a leader. Let's address a common objection. What if saying no damages relationships? The truth is the opposite. Overcommitment breeds resentment, burnout, and underdelivery, which destroys trust. Clear boundaries build respect. When you say no cleanly, people know where they stand with you. They may not always like it, but they will respect it. And respect compounds far faster than approval. Another objection. What if I miss out on opportunities? Here's the counter. Opportunities aligned with your mission will survive a boundary. If one yes defines whether you get access, it's not an opportunity, it's a trap. The exact no protocol filters distractions disguised as opportunities, so you can double down on the ones that truly matter. Now let's drill the core sequence again so it burns into your mind. Awareness. Recognize that the pressure you feel is not about the task, but about avoiding discomfort. Pause. Count silently to 2 before answering. Phrase. Deliver your preloaded sentence. Acknowledge, then boundary. Reinforcement. Hold the silence, let authority build. Redirection. If needed, defer into the future instead of committing now. That is the playbook. This is not about being harsh. It's about precision. It's about designing your life so that only high-leverage inputs make it into your system. Think of it as a firewall for your time and attention. Everything that doesn't meet the threshold gets blocked. The exact no protocol is that firewall. Imagine the impact over 1 year. If you say no to just 2 unnecessary tasks per week, you recover roughly 5 hours every month. That's 60 hours a year. 60 hours you can invest in deep work, health, or relationships that actually matter. That's a full work week recovered just by installing one protocol. The difference between top performers and everyone else is not effort. It's filtration. High performers protect their energy like it's their most valuable currency, because it is. And now you have the code to do the same. Your next move is simple. Write down your exact phrase. Anchor it to a micro-action. Practice it 5 times tonight. Then apply it in the next low-stakes request that comes your way. Build the muscle rep by rep until it becomes automatic. And when it does, you will notice the shift. You'll feel lighter, sharper, and more in control. You'll start every day with more bandwidth because your energy is no longer leaking into pointless obligations. You'll be respected more, not less, because people value those who value their own time. That is the real advantage. You don't win by saying yes to everything. You win by deploying exact no's at the right time. And that's why this matters. Because your goals, your growth, and your mission cannot afford another stolen hour. If you're ready to build an arsenal of mental codes that give you the competitive edge in every area of life, subscribe to Success Code now. Each protocol we share is another weapon in your playbook, simple, precise, and designed to make you unstoppable.